Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We are here again for another series, and we are talking about role and we're talking about purpose. And so we are here for another series this morning. And I want to thank all of those who are taking the time to join me. I appreciate you. And we look forward to have a great discussion this morning as we talk about in our series Leading with Light, as we talk about leading with legacy, how to live even after we are gone. And so we want to talk about this very important topic because we have started the series on purpose actualization. We looked at what was purpose as against our vocation and career. Then we looked at the difference between your role and your purpose and why we should not confuse it. We also looked at the levels of assignments, and we looked at the other aspects last week as it relates to our desires and how we integrate purpose into those things. And so we looked at the traits of purpose driven leaders and purpose driven leadership. And today we want to look at leaving the legacy. So we want to lead with the legacy. Good morning, Leslie. Thank you so much for joining this morning. It's a pleasure having you. All right. I see you, Delia. Thank you so much for joining on the YouTube. Thank you, Apple, for joining. Sophia Sinclair, I see you. Thank you. Sharon, thank you for joining. All right. So we want to talk this morning about leading with the legacy, and we're going to go into that. And so we want to look at a quote that I like. I love this quote because it is very profound. It says, leading is not leaving something for people, it is leaving something in people. And it is crowned very perfectly with Leslie. Purpose is the seedling of desire. Very much so, very much so, Leslie. And I'm putting out a book very soon. It is called The Leader's Seed. And in that, I have that very, very, very good concept because I believe it is the seedling of desire. I do believe that also. Very important. Thank you for joining, Ronnie. I see you. Marlene, I see you. And I see my LinkedIn loser. I don't know if that is Ernest or it is Alison, but whoever you are, thank you for joining. And so today, as we proceed, we're talking about our legacy, leading with legacy, how to build influence that outlives you. I hope we can benefit from this. I always use it as a teaching session. I am very particular that we get interactive as a teacher and also an educational leader at all levels of the education system for over 25 years. And so teaching is really the birth in me, and my foundation rests on teaching. For those who don't know me or who is meeting me for the first time, I'm Dr. Marcia Thomas. I am a Christian leadership consultant, life and career coach, an author, and a motivational speaker. I empower women in leadership over 40 to identify their God-given purpose and to transform it into a meaningful and profitable purpose. And so I do this by promoting my program, my Purpose Actualization Accelerator 3 months program. And for those who need to talk to me, I have one-on-one session, and I am having a group session coming up by popular demand that is helping you to do just that. It's a flash sale, and it will be on the 26th of February, and it will serve that purpose for those who want to start the conversation and so on. Thank you, Dr. Leslie. That is a very good move, a very good and reassuring statement. I believe so too. And I passing it right back to you, a good friend to those who know you. Thank you so much. I strive to be authentic and genuine with those who I come in contact with, and I fight to treat them the way I would want to be treated. Was your position reversed? That's my mantra, to be true to myself so I cannot be false to any man. Hello, Chris. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. I want to use this medium to formally express deep, heartfelt condolences to Tanique, the only child who has lost her father. She lost her mother some time ago, and now she has lost her father. So I am asking that we reach out to her and support her as she goes through this trying time. All right, you might see me looking down. I am actually looking to greet those who come up on the phone right there. All right, so let's go now to the thought that I want us to have. The key points of discussion today will be how we differentiate short-term success and generational impact. I want to touch how we identify and invest in people and projects that will sustain your leadership legacy. And I want to also suggest some faith-driven leadership principles for creating a lasting influence in business, ministry, and community. Because, of course, as I said before, I'm a Christian leadership consultant, life and career coach. And although those terms might be cliche, as we are now hearing, it is really what I do. I also want us to exchange ideas on how to develop and empower the next generation of leaders. We are saying that you're not just a leader, you're to influence, impact, and inspire persons. I have emphasized over the last 4 weeks as we are coming to this series that leadership is not a position or a title. It is an action and it is example. Good morning, BJ Coombs. Thank you. Wishing you abundance with love. Nice to see you keeping up the good work sincerely. Thank you so much for your support. All right, so let's look at the first one because we want to talk. Before we move, though, I want to establish the foundational principle on which I rest. And I'm saying leadership isn't just about what you achieve today. It is really about the impact you leave for future generation. It mustn't be that you came and left. It must be that you came and when you left, that must be the thing. So you came and when you left. Generational impact really means that we take intentional actions or we make focused, purpose-driven decisions that shape our industries, that shape our communities, that shape our lives long after we are gone. And we are calling that leading with legacy. Hi, Lisa. Happy Tuesday to you. And so that's the crux I want to focus on. How do we shape lives? How do we change outcomes? How do we make the impact in our industries and communities long after we are gone? It means that we cannot confuse our role with our purpose. And we have looked at that already. It means that we have to inspire persons to dream more, to learn more, and to grow and become more. That more that they are becoming is that they are becoming masters of their own destiny. They are pressing into their purpose and they are impacting and influencing lives. Because as I said, every single one of us have the same purpose. It's just that we have different roles. And it is that we must inspire, we must impact, and we must grow. We must inspire others because we have been inspired, and we must impact lives and change outcomes because our lives and our outcomes were changed. Our ministry was amplified when we understood what our purpose was, and we must grow because we grow into our purpose. We evolve as we move from one level of assignment to the other. We get a greater reach, we get greater responsibilities, we get greater intent, and our duties and responsibilities to fulfill our God given purpose reach its maximum that we call actualization when you are totally commissioned. So you are at the preparation stage, you go through your sustenance stage, your anointing, your appointing, and then you are fully commissioned. And we say at that point, you understand your purpose so much that you are focused on the direction and the destination. So whatever comes on your way, you overcome because that is not a distraction. It is just one of those obstacles that you will overcome. As you overcome each obstacle, you become more resilient, and so that muscle becomes stamped in your DNA, and so you at the end of your life would be able to say, well done, I have fought a good fight, I have kept to the faith and to my purpose. I see some LinkedIn users. Thank you so much. Yes, Dr. Leslie, we each model leadership to those in our community. Wherever our role extends, wherever it takes us, I agree. When we help others, we are being God's hands and feet in the earth. And believe me, Ronnie, some of us, we are the only Jesus that some will ever see. And we become that little word, that little example of light, as Dr. Leslie is saying, as we model leadership in our community. So how do we now close the distance between short-term success and generational impact? For me, and some of these are reiterated in my book, A Leader Like You, for those who want to dig a little deeper, or you can have a conversation with me by DMing me or scheduling a Soul Sync Powered Up session with me to dig a little deeper. But as it is in this, we are focusing, short-term success really focuses on the immediate, the deadline matrix, the measurement of your actions for evaluation and for immediate effect, the leader's personal achievements and recognition. That is short-term success. So you look, it can be measured by all sorts of persons, and it can become very subjective depending on who is doing that evaluation, who is defining success for you, and who success is important to you, because there are some of us who have role models and we want to be like those persons and we want to have their success. And so our achievements, no matter how great they are, become very minimal. Some people refer to a side of imposter syndrome as reflected in that type of success measurement. And some of us can never reach a standard that we set for ourselves because the standard is too high and it is also unrealistic. And so generational impact takes you into a greater self-awareness because it shifts you from the self-centric goals that we have to prove ourselves and to prove people wrong, and to show people that you are better than them. Generational impact doesn't do that. It is mostly and more geared towards a purpose-driven approach. And so you look at doing what you can with what you have, your unique gifts and talents, and how you can translate them into joyful work that leaves a lasting impact and transcends your tenure so that it influences your future leaders and change the lives and outcomes of the person that you serve in the broader community, emphasizing the development and empowerment of others, because that is it. Your purpose is to serve, and the vehicle will change as we grow, very much so. And so, as we talk about that, we want to look at your legacy. How do we now lead with legacy? How do we create that pathway? How to live even after we are gone? how to have that impact and influence, how to make it outlive us. We first of all have to know our legacy very early, know what our legacy is. What do I mean? From very early, you must know, once you settle into your career, you must know what you want to be remembered for. And some people know that long before their time. But you must know what you want to be remembered for. This, you see, the thing is, leadership doesn't just happen by accident or any other way. It is built with vision and purpose. It is intentional. It is pre-designed, pre-appointed, and pre-approved by the man who created you, fearfully and wonderfully formed you. Because before you were born, he fashioned you and established your purpose on this earth. The thing is that some of us take too long to tap into the purpose. And so on our deathbed or in the twilight of our years, we say, if we had a chance to live our life over, now we have gotten so much clarity. This is what I would do. And this is how I would do it. Because just like Solomon, you looked at all of you, what you have achieved, and realized that it was not meaningful because life without a purpose is very empty. And so we want to understand that it is built with vision and purpose. And we hear Ronnie saying legacy is a mindset, very much so, a mindset that is shaped by environment, relationship, and exposure, which makes leadership building very, very, very intentional. It's built, it's brick by brick, foundation upon foundation, strong foundation is legacy. And we want to understand that. And so I want you to ask yourself, because of course I say this is where we learn and we also value the comments, so keep them coming. Very valuable comments, very good discussion we're having here. I'm so happy that I have all of you joining me, persons with experience and expertise and knowledge, so much more than I have. All right, so I want you to ask yourself, and I have it on the screen for those who would want to look at the replay, what impact do I want to leave in my career, faith, and family? And as you think about that, you want to look at what values will define my leadership. And of course, as we established in the very first start of this series, at the start of this series, we are leaders as a composite whole. The role we play in our family as leader, mother, wife, spouse, sister, the role we play in our community, church community, I'm sorry, our home base or environment, in our professional space, the role we play. So we are not just leaders because we have people following us. We are leaders because we have roles and responsibilities that are specifically ours, and we are created the problem that we are created to solve and why we exist. The next question I want to ask is, who will carry my work forward in whatever capacity, in your home, in your professional space, in your life, contribution, and community? Who will carry your work forward? And there are things that my mother, who has passed, there are things that we have done to carry our work forward because they become embellished in our spirits and in our psyche because we were a part of that. And so that's very important. And then now, why is this so important? The Bible says we are to write the vision and make it plain on tablets so he may run who reads it. And that's part of living the legacy, living the life that everybody sees clearly, not contradicting, consistent actions, because they become a part of us. Natural, heart-centered actions, decisions that build the collective and not just one person. And so that is what it means to write the vision. Every day, we must help somebody. We must. By our example, by our words, and by our actions. And I separate example from action because there are some of us who actually do what is required of us to get the job done, to get a perfect evaluation and so on. But that's not really who we are. And that is when our core values and our career is out of line. And that is when we are focused on success and not significance. That is when we are more focused on tasks and getting deadlines operational rather than people. That's when we dig into profits. And so, what do you want to be remembered for is a very important question that makes legacy building very intentional. All right. The next thing that we want to talk about as I talk about it is that for you to do that, also, you have to invest in the people and projects that build sustainable leadership and legacy. We have to invest in those people and projects that builds the sustainable leadership legacy that we want to have. And so I say leadership is not about who you develop, is about, sorry, who you develop and not just what you accomplish. And so purpose-driven leaders become very great and unforgettable rather than competent and good leaders because they multiply themselves. How do they do that? They mentor others. They empower others. They equip others. They share trust. They share responsibility. They share accountability. They build that type of network. They are not afraid of creativity and innovation. They are not afraid of difference. They drive consensus around a particular goal or project. And that is based on the gift sets that people take to it and the strengths and limitations of others. They merge their strengths together. They butt heads and they come up with the perfect solution at that time. We call that creativity. We call that innovation. Hi, Nicholas. So good to have you. And this mentoring or multiplying of yourself, this empowering and equipping of others is a rule that has been set, a very good principle set in Matthew 28, verse 19, where we are told to go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations. And so, how do we invest in the people and projects that will argue for building a sustainable leadership legacy? We want to discern potential. We want to discern potential because if we are good leaders, unforgettable, transformational, purpose-driven leaders, we are not gatekeepers. Thank you so much, Ronnie. You're in my head this morning. We are not gatekeepers. Yeah. It's not about showing how great we are. It's about birthing the greatness in others, allowing others to become masters of their own destiny. And so we must discern potential. We must identify persons' strengths and we must support them to build on those strengths. We must reflect on what people can become and we must nurture them with clarity and confidence and support to get to the point where they were meant to be. We must not hold people back because of our limitations, our doubts, our concept of what they should be doing at a particular time or the pace at which they should be moving. We are to be fair and just in our translation, and we are to be accommodating of talent and gifts and uniqueness. And we must give persons opportunity to test themselves to see what they can produce. And we call that encouraging autonomy and innovation. We are to listen to good ideas. We are to have persons represent their ideas. And we must honestly and transparently explain to them why this will not work at this point, your limitations, and get them in front of the persons also that can hear their ideas that are very brilliant and very needed, because leadership now and the workplace and life has become so complex that things are not as they used to be, and they will never become. Every day there's a new normal, there's something different. And so we require persons that are innovative and very creative and who can think on their feet to make the difference on spot, because the long-term consideration is not pliable, it's not working out in many instances as the world turns and as it is moving forward at a very rapid and incredulous pace, and changes are coming left and right. And so we want to have those persons who are autonomous and innovative, adaptable and flexible, but who will do what is right and not what is popular or expected of them. And so we are to provide those resources and support that they need by placing them in the right network, by training them, by mentoring them, and by guiding them. We want to birth personal accountability. We want to have an example where persons are solidly set in their foundation. We want to show them why it is important that they do what is right. We want to actually teach them how their actions cascade and affect others alongside them, above them, below them, and those who are beside them, behind them. Those who are behind them must find them faithful. And so that is how the type of resources and support that we want to provide, that they remain authentic and true to themselves, because that is extremely important. And so you are not a gatekeeper, you are a watchman. You are a watchman. So you tell of the night. So we want to get that going. All right. So investing. Thank you, Dr. Leslie. As we invest in the people and projects for our leadership legacy, we also want to understand what we really mean when we talk about mentoring emerging leaders. What do we do? Is that we want to understand in our own selves that our impact is greater when it extends beyond you. And to extend it beyond you, you have to share it. And sharing means that you live what you know. And I say, if you always have to be standing up, telling people what you stand for, you are not standing. When you're standing, they will see you. I always say that. If you, in trying to make your impact and carrying out your roles and responsibilities, have to always be telling those who you serve, notice I say serve and not lead, telling those who you serve what you stand for, then you are not standing. When you stand, they will see. And that's what we mean by mentoring. Your core values and beliefs align with your mission and your role and your goals. And as you articulate them and integrate them into the areas of your life that are extremely important to you, those become non-negotiables. And you pull them forward and you stand. There were so many examples this week in a particular province or area, I will not speak, that where people stood up for what they believe. It was not the popular decision, but they felt right. They could sleep in their beds. They knew what they're about, and in their core and innermost soul, what is true and right. And they stand for truth, even if the heavens fall. They are true to duty as a needle to the pole. Yes, they cannot be bought nor sold. And we must, when we mentor people, get them to embrace that core inside of them, that they stand militant and triumphant at the end of their life, their career, their role, their responsibilities. That is how they will leave a lasting legacy. We must create opportunities for others to rise. We must give them the tools, the wisdom, and the confidence to lead. And I underline wisdom right there, because it is experience that teaches wisdom. So we must make them learn to swim in the water because no one learns to swim on land. And so, as we monitor them, we must give them some room to grow and to develop. But we must also have those boundaries that are our non negotiables that work for the good, the greater good of all involved, and not just serve one person. And so we want to also celebrate and invest in the success of others because legacy is about lifting others higher. And it is not hero worshiping, it is not rewarding charisma and persona, it's not rewarding compliance and competence, it is rewarding purpose, commitment, integrity, ethics, and authenticity, innovation, and creativity. That's what we mean when we talk about the legacy of lifting others higher. And so I want you to reflect on where your limitations are in the positions you are and identify a person to mentor and actively invest in their growth. So right now we want you to look at it, whether it's somebody in your community, in your professional space, in your family that is an extended family member that you maybe had given up on and so on. When they really came to you and you would have been the light, you did not know that they came into your life to change you. You thought that you were to change them. I want you to look carefully and identify one person to mentor and actively invest in their growth. We really want to be able to do that. And that is how we invest in the people and projects that will promote our legacy. So what are some leadership principles? Because that's what I said I would do for creating this legacy in your business, your ministry, and your community. The first thing I would say, and what I believe and what I've articulated in my book, and what I do with clients who come for that, with that intent, with that strong desire to make a meaningful connection and tap into their purpose and actually create impact and influence that is lasting. I want, first of all, say you're going to tap into your integrity. So you're gonna lead with integrity. You're gonna value your character over your achievements. And so the character is who you are when nobody's looking. It's your character imprint that you will be leaving here and not your achievements. When people pass or transition this life, people talk about how they made them feel. They didn't say he was the first athlete that got a gold medal. They say he was a powerful, strong, determined person. And as a result, he was the first person to get that gold medal. They talk about your character more than how they talk about your achievements. And if your achievement comes first, you would have to be a Nelson Mandela or a Martin Luther. And even with those persons, they spoke about their character, their resilience, their determination, their unwavering loyalty to what was right, their commitment. Those are words that is used to describe people. Nobody on their deathbed says, I am so happy that I was able to get the medal or the achievement or the accolade in the Hall of Fame as the best leader. No, they say, many persons wish they had spent quality time with their family members, that they had told those who were so important to them how much they love them. If they got the opportunity and could rise from that bed, this is what they would do differently. And nothing is pointing to achievement. It's pointing to purpose. It's pointing to impact. It's pointing to influence. It's pointing to legacy. And so I say we ought to have, yes, Adinga, a good character and not just position and power because, Adinga, you seem to be with me today, everybody here. Your position and power will fade, but your character and values will define how people remember you. And so leaders who prioritize honesty, humility, and faith create legacies that withstand time. People remember how you make them feel. People remember how you change their outcomes. People remember how you help them to change their lives. People remember how it is because of John Brown why I am a nurse today, why I fulfilled my purpose, why I pressed into my calling. She was the one who gave me that opportunity. And now I am serving people joyfully. And sometimes it's not that easy, but here I am doing what I love to do. It's not about the money. It's about the fulfillment, the actualization. And I'm quoting people in throughout my life who have said all of that. And so we have to understand and realize how important character is, and that it is the most important position of power and authority, your character. When people can trust your word, trust your good intention, trust your heart and your hand, you have managed to stamp your character. When persons say she will do what she says when she says it, believe me, she knows she does that. When people say if she could do better, she would. If she could change that, believe me, she would move heaven and hell. Your character has preceded you. And that is your position, your superpower of power. That is the influence that you carry. When people say, I trust him or her, because they are very consistent. I have no reason to doubt that this will happen and that the person feels it. You know, I see people hurting at a point, and I hear people in the organization saying, believe me, he or she feels it more than you, or just as much as you. It's because they know and trust you. And Proverbs 22, verse 1 crowns that fully by saying, a good name is more desirable than great riches. Because your name must mean something as a leader. And what it means is that your name must mean that in your position of power or authority, in your life or your career, in your family, you are inspiring. You are using what you have and know and have experienced to inspire, to impact, and to grow those around you as you do the same for yourself. And that's really what we are talking about when we say character over achievements. I also want you to understand that you must make decisions that are rooted in integrity and not convenience. What do I mean? You are to do what is right and not what is popular. What will make it easy for you? What will make you comfortable? What will not disrupt any status quo? That those are persons who make those decisions. Of course, you might be very competent and you might feel that you have gotten consensus, but a man persuaded against his will is of the same opinion still. And so some of us are rewarding compliance because we don't understand that we get the concept, as I said last week, that great leadership is getting people to do what we want them to do instead of getting persons to collaborate and use their gifts and talents to achieve a goal and an outcome that will add value, change lives, and empower people. So we want to understand, because many times as I said last week, we have been taught how to work, but we have not been taught how to be fulfilled. And so Chris is saying true leadership isn't just about authority, it's about understanding people, recognizing talent, and inspiring action. Powerfully said, probably sums up what I'm saying. The best leaders don't just put the right person in the right role, they know how to bring out the best in them, of course. And sometimes leadership requires embracing the burden of being the opposition, not out of malice, not out of malice, but for growth. I agree with you, Chris, 100% and more with this statement, not out of malice, but for growth. And that place, you see, Chris, I must put in here that that place is a very lonely place. I say every time that leadership is very common, but purpose-driven leadership is scarce, because purpose-driven leadership act for the consistent well-being and growth of persons. And sometimes to do that, you have to make the unpopular decision. You have to make people see themselves for who they are. And you have to be willing and patient and mature to pull them along. And I say, maturity does not always come with age. Maturity comes at any age based on experience. When a leader willingly becomes the common enemy, it's not about division, but about forging unity, resilience, and an unstoppable drive. Greatness often emerges from adversity. So true. And also, true leaders understand how to wield that dynamics for the greater good. So, Ronnie, I see you saying leadership and service is not based in fear. No, because purpose driven leaders treat others the way they want to be treated. That is a concept that is embedded in the servant side of the service side of their leadership. And so there is no fear, there is perfect love. And love, of course, we understand it in all the terms and definitions that are out there. Rather, it is based in love, as you have said. Leadership is not interested in control, and I want to add manipulation. Rather, in leadership inspires collaboration, growth, and partnership and authenticity. I'll have to add authenticity, accepting people for who they are and taking them from where they are to where they are meant to be, because persons who are on that path have to grow and they want to grow. And when they are placed under your care for mentorship, for empowerment, for guidance, and for support, because that is your role and that is the assignment at this time to fulfill your purpose. You must make sure that those who come behind you find you faithful, and that God trust that He has placed on you, and that anointing and appointment and that commission is well served. And so we want to make those decisions that are rooted in integrity and not convenience. And so we want to stay true to our faith and values, even under pressure, which is what Chris was saying. Even under pressure, we become the enemy, but we stand alone and we appear divided, but not so. It is really to forge unity, to make people see the bigger picture, to see what is not about them, but about the collective whole, to see what will add value in the long term and not just individual comfort and relief in the short term. When you're able to make those decisions, and trust me, I've had to make so many of them in my role as a leader of an organization. And sometimes persons don't understand what it is about, especially those disruptors who are self-centered and who wants to make it all about them. And there are different types within the organization. I had a series recently where I talked about the silent critic who appears to be in accordance with everyone, but who is really the subtle divider of all and is close to everybody, but they are friends to no one. They are only friends to themselves. We talk about the narcissistic leader. We talk about the bully. And so I moved into all of those and I spoke about them at a training session that I was asked to deliver. In that situation, we talked about mastering certain forms of how our body language and our facial expressions and even our words can trigger people and how they can trigger us and a team building session. So we spoke about all of those because we want to understand that under pressure, you must stand up. That's what we talk about when we talk about character. When we talk about integrity, nobody should change who you are. You are not supposed to be doing what people do to best them, because it means that you become worse than them. If your tricks are greater and more creative than the tricks of those who are in your organization trying to trigger you so that you are joyful and happy, triggering them and getting back at them and so on. You must take a look at yourself, because your integrity is on shaky ground, because people are changing you and not for the better. They are changing you for the worse, because your integrity, your character, your evidence, your example must become that default, that pressure, that light, because you're leading with light, that makes them see, look within, to see that they are wrong. Of course, there are persons who never see themselves as being wrong. We have perfect examples of those in leadership and in the society. However, others, you must be such an example that others begin to speak on your behalf. They see clearly that what that person is saying is not true. And so they must accuse you wrongly. And the Bible talks about that. When they come against you, it must be a false accusation. And so you must lead in a way that reflects God's purpose, because your character is part of your legacy. Your example is part of your legacy. Your consistent actions is part of your legacy. Your core values and belief is part of your legacy. All of that put together is the integrated whole. It cannot be separated from your purpose. So you want to ask yourself, would I be proud if my leadership decisions were my legacy? Would I be proud if my life decisions were my legacy? And I want that to soak in. Would I be proud today as I look back in my life at myself and at my leadership at all levels in which I lead my family, my community, professionally? Would I be proud if my leadership decisions were my legacy? Something I want us to think about. So we want to now look also at how we focus. Our focus is also important if we want to create a sustainable legacy model in our business, in our ministry, and in our community. We want to focus on impact, not just your success. And we looked at, of course, those who are just joining us, the short-term success and our generational impact. So success is about achievement, but legacy is about impact, lasting, sustainable impact. How people remember us long after we are gone. And we did have a little section on that also for those who are just coming. So the leaders who look beyond themselves and also shape their culture, the community, and industries in the ways that are enduring and lasting are those leaders that are creating and building that legacy in their business and in their ministry and in their community. It means that your light is shining. People are seeing your good works and they are glorifying your Father in heaven because He's the one who sent you. Before you were born, He knew you and He established what you would be doing. And so, no matter how we plan, the Bible talks about it, Proverbs, it is God's plans that are established. And if it is till the last day you live, you have to, you get a glimpse of your purpose and you know what it is. You might not have lived it, you might have had it in dormancy, you might have had it derailed it because of the comfort illusion and the productivity illusion that exists in this world, where we become comfortable paying our bills that we do not understand that we could have done much more and still pay our bills. And then we believe that we must do more, the productivity illusion, that if we do more, we work harder, we get another degree, we get another certification, if we know the right person, if we get a different job, and if we are burned out and tired, that we are actually fulfilling our purpose. So we get those types of delusions and we settle for those, especially if we feel that we don't have any other way out. And that's why I am very guarded in telling persons to get something until better come. I prefer to say to them, understand and take up this particular role or assignment in preparation for your greater assignment. Because that is a mindset shift that makes persons understand that I do not have an abiding city in this role. This is not the end all. This is not the destination. Because sometimes we are very much comfortable, but we are extremely frustrated and we actually feel unfulfilled and empty. And that is why I help women who are successful but still know that they have this gnawing feeling that they should be doing something different or something more, that they are not using their skills and their talents to profit themselves and to profit and give honor to God, that they feel so guilty and they don't know what crime they have committed. They are very much productive, but they do not have the passion. They also lose sight of where they started or how they started because life happens I help those women to dig back into themselves, reignite themselves, and align themselves with their God given purpose, and to meaningfully transform it into a profitable, purpose driven life. And so we want to our light to shine in those ways. And that's part of leaving the legacy, when you know what you are born to do, what you're created to do, the problem that you're created to solve. So you want to shift from personal success to community impact. You want to ask yourself the question, how does your work serve others? How does your work serve others? You want to think beyond today. How will your leadership matter in 10, 20, or 50 years? That is living on in your children, in your co-workers. Who are you building and equipping to become masters of their own destiny, and to instill this in others, to serve others, so and lift others and empower others? Who are you? How will your leadership look like? What will it look like in that time? How will it matter? You want to make faith-driven decisions that align with God's greater purpose. So you have to listen to him. If you lack wisdom, you have to ask him. And that's why I'm having that group session on February 26th, to answer some of these questions once and for all, and to allow persons to start taking the small steps to actualizing a purpose and doing joyful work. We want to identify now one way you can serve or give back in a way that leaves a lasting impact while doing what you love. You want to sit down and you want to think about that. As I come down, I want to say a true legacy doesn't just rely on one person. We want to make sure. So how do you develop and empower the new generation of leaders? You have to understand that leadership is not something you do to people. It's something you do with people. It is something you do with people. You have to develop people, because legacy does not rely, will not rely on one person. It is sustained by strong systems, teams, and structures that are created in collaboration with other persons who understand and know their purpose, or who is searching for meaningful connections and meaning, because that's the greatest want of people. Every human being wants to know that they have meaning, that they are valuable, that they have a reason to be alive. And so leaders who create lasting change establish these processes, the policies and teams that keep the vision alive. And let me explain, because we have done it in a series before, but those who are joining for the first time, the informal structure is more important than the formal structure in any organization, no matter how we look at it. The problem with the informal structure is that the informal structure many times have been duped to believe that they don't have the power, but they are the ones with the power. And when they come together, they can overturn any system that is not working for their collective well-being. And we see it happen in so many rebellions and uprisings, where persons decide, this is not what I was created for. This is certainly can't be what I should be settling for. I can do much more. We deserve much more. We are worthy of much more, because we have carried enough to be treated fairly and justly. And when they stand together, nothing tears them down. They are prepared to go to the last mile to make that sacrifice. They are prepared to give up their lives for what they believe. And that is what we call vision. That is what we call policies. That's what we call processes. Those informal cries in the heart that binds people to a common cause that we call purpose. So which of you intending to build a house does not sit down first and count the cost? Every single person, even the fool. The person that is mental sits down and say, what will it cost? This is it. It might not be rational, but there is a cost that is put to it because your purpose costs you something. Your purpose requires you to surrender. It requires you to have faith and obedience. It requires you to serve a bigger mission than yourself, outside of yourself. It requires you to grow. And sometimes the ways in which we want to grow, we have to grow, we don't want to grow. But it's that thing that makes you do things with people because purpose serves others. Purpose impacts others, inspire others, and grow others. That's what purpose does. And so it's an outward look, it's not an inward look. So, how can you develop and empower the next generation of leaders apart from that? First, we also must build organizations and ministries and business that are sustainable beyond us. So, you want to start documenting your wisdom, your systems, and strategies for those who will come after you. And persons who find that they are going into Alzheimer's or dementia are encouraged at the first sign when they go to the doctor. And I have family members who have had that happen to them in my extended family. And they when we sit around them, the doctor tells them to try to preserve the memories, write it in a book, have your pictures in your collage, label them, put those memories together so that people can remember. And many times it is what they show to these persons as they begin to progress and get worse. They show them these things, they read back things to them, and so on. That's exactly how we are saying. Document your wisdom, your systems, and your strategies for those who will come after you. Write your book or do your course or even do your journaling and give it to someone who you trust so that they can be able to say this is, especially if it is your personal business, is your family business, your principles, your policies, your why is put down on that paper so persons keep sight of it. And even if they change your why, they embrace your values because you have passed them on. So the key takeaway from this session as we come to our last slide is that legacy is not something you build at the end of your career. It's something you cultivate daily. And so leading with vision, investing in others, maintaining integrity, focusing on impact, and creating sustainable systems shape a future that extends far beyond yourself. So the last question I want to leave you with and what I want you to think about is, are you leading in a way or living in a way that will outlive you? Are you leading in a way or living in a way that will outlive you? And I say to you, the time to start is right now. And so I always end my session, my series, with a prayer or a thought. And so I want you to remember that if you want to be a leader who leaves a lasting legacy, you have to stop focusing only on your career success, your short term success. You have to start focusing on your generational impact. Start building people, driving change, and creating that ripple effect of purpose driven leadership. And so I want to remind persons of this flash sale that I'm having on February 26th. It has been marked down to just 20 US, and you do your 60-minute session. It's a group coaching where you're able to identify your spiritual gifts and how they align with your career and your purpose, overcome fear and confusion that is keeping you from stepping into your calling. It also helps you to monetize your gifts ethically and confidently for your kingdom impact. And it gives you, empowers you to take actionable steps to create a career and life that honors God. Please pass the information along, and I look forward to seeing those of you who want to align your purpose with your calling. So I leave with a prayer. It says, Heavenly Father, guide us to lead with wisdom, courage, and integrity. Align our hearts with your purpose so that our leadership brings glory to you and impact others eternally. Strengthen us to serve with humility and inspire us with vision so we can leave a legacy. May our work honor you and your kingdom. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you next week as we continue the series and we talk about a very important topic. I say DM me if you want to continue this conversation or schedule a soul sing powered up strategy session so you can see the services I can offer you. I help female women leaders 40 plus to uncover their God given purpose and to transform it into a meaningful and profitable, purpose driven life. And so, God bless you all, and thank you for joining me every single week. And for those who contributed to the conversation, so much value, so much of your time and your expertise, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Those who are coming or hearing for the first time, I want to say thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you. Have a great day. And remember to tap into my post today on self care. It's Leader Self Care Tuesday. Thank you so much. And also subscribe to my newsletter. God bless. Have a great, great day.